beautiful Hair Lounge community. My name's Angelina and this is the Hair Lounge. So this is going to be for all of my thick haired girls. Stay tuned and I'm going to show you how to texturize and thin out those ends so you get those fun, piecey hairstyles. Let's get right into it. Now is the time to hit that subscribe button. That way we don't forget at the end of this video. All right, let's get into thick hair. I know not everybody has the joy of having thick hair. Some of us have fine hair, which I do. I have fine hair, I just have a lot of it. I like my styles to be very piecey on the ends. And I notice when I cut my hair shorter, I am just looking thick and bulky on the ends. And I know a lot of my clients complain about not getting that super light and airy look to their hair. And this is a trick that you can use to get piecey ends. First, I curled my hair already, as you can see, and I notice on the ends, it's just super thick and kind of blocky looking. And I don't like that. I like to put pomade, wax, spray wax, hairspray in my hair. And I like those softer looking ends and not super blunt. I decided I'm going to texturize my end, or another term is thinning your ends. Go ahead and hit that like button if you guys have ever thinned your hair. Thinning sounds scary, but it really is not scary if your stylist knows what she is doing. You want to make sure that they're not taking too much, because that will make it to where you lose the perimeter or that thicker looking bottom on the end of your haircut. So you want to make sure that they know what they're doing. I am using just basic thinning shears, and I'll kind of come a little bit closer. So as you can see, it has little teeth on them. And so all the sections that the teeth, there's space, that hair is not going to be cut. And then all those teeth on there that you can kind of see the little points on them, that will cut the hair. So it will evenly thin out those ends. I'm going to use my towel and just wrap it around. I'll probably get hair on me, but that's not that big of a deal. But wrap it around to somewhat protect my clothes. Then what you want to do is you want to make sure you section your hair first. The reason is you don't want to take too much, so you want to make sure you're leaving that bottom section out from your texturizing. So let me do a tiny bit more around my ears. And we are going to clip all this extra stuff up. As you can see, this is kind of the very bottom of my hair, the very ends of my actual haircut. And I am going to thin this, but I'm going to be a little conservative on texturizing it just because I don't want to lose the look of the line on the bottom of my haircut. Also going to use my cutting comb a tiny bit closer. I'm going to just go through and do it in sections. And I'm going to look, as you can see where my hair is blonde, it is already fairly thin. So you can kind of see through all this hair. So I'm not going to thin that because it already naturally has texture in it from that blonde. But as you can see on this brown stuff, it's pretty thick and you can't really see through it. So this is what I want to texture. So take my thinning scissors or texturizing scissors, and you're just gonna do it at the very bottom inch of your hair. You do not wanna go up too high. You just want it to be at the very ends. And I normally do a couple snips. Then I'm gonna go back through and do it just a tiny bit more. And honestly, I do it by feel. You obviously, if you're gonna do this or attempt to do this to yourself at home, you wanna make sure, be conservative first because you cannot add hair back on. So I can tell just right through this back section, it's still pretty thick. So this is also what I'm going to texturize. And the more times you're opening and closing your scissors, obviously that means you're going to be removing more bulk or more hair. So you want to make sure you kind of know your hair type. Okay, so now my ends feel lighter. Now we're gonna move over to my right side. Again, holding up this blonde, as you can see through it pretty good. So I don't touch that section. And I'm moving back to the brown. As you can see, it's fairly thick. I'm doing mostly just the very bottom section. This helps when you are curling your hair. If you've ever noticed your curls kind of clumping together or looking more like ringlets, this helps remove a lot of the bulkiness, so then your curls are lighter weight and not so heavy. Another thing this helps with is if you do have thick hair, a lot of times you notice the curls do not stay as long, or they just don't stay at all. And that's just because your hair is so heavy. So when your hair is a little bit heavier, the curls get weighed down. And so by doing this, it lightens up those ends and helps hold your actual curl. Like I told you, I do it by feel. So I just kind of feel through my ends and just make sure I don't feel any super thick spots. And it feels pretty good. So now I'm going to move on to my next section. I'm doing my sections fairly thick, just because I know I don't want a ton of texture in there, but I just want a little bit. And so I base my sectioning off of how much texture I want into it. Okay, so now when I move kind of towards this front section, I can see it's gotten a little bit thicker now that I have more hair down. So I am just going to texturize the blonde section just a tiny bit. And moving on to this back stuff. Like I said, I do this by feel. So if this is something you want done to your hair by your stylist, you will notice a lot of times we will run our hands through your hair often just to make sure we don't have any bulky or fuller spots compared to one side or the other. Okay, now we'll move over to the right side doing exactly the same thing. Now we're moving on to that very last top section, and I do have layers in it, so I'm going to do it a tiny bit differently and hold it more out when I'm texturizing it, because since I have layers in there, they are a little bit softer and a little bit more wispy through there, so I'm going to just feel kind of more through it and hold my hair up at an angle and still making sure I'm getting those ends. Not going up more than 2 inches through my bottom kind of section. If you start getting too close to the interior of your hair, meaning up through here, you'll have all these tiny little hairs that start poking up all over the place, and that is never a good look. Okay, and we'll move on to this right side. So I don't know if you guys can tell, but if you look at this side, so all these layers and kind of the perimeter is looking super, super soft and kind of wispy. And then all this right here is just looking super bulky. So I don't know if you guys can see the difference between these are a little bit softer and wispy looking, and then this just looks very blunt and full. So that's what I'm getting rid of. Softening it like this side to this side. Okay, so now you can see it's definitely softer on those ends. They look a little flyaway right now because I've been running my hands through it a bunch. So what I would do is I'd go back through with some product and put some product in it and piece it out. It feels tons better. Can you guys see a difference? From what I started with to now, soft wispy ends. You can see that it's a little softer, a little more lightweight. Now both of my sides match. This is something you can ask your stylist to do on you, or if you're brave enough, you can attempt it to yourself at home. Caution, enter at your own risk though. You don't want any, hair mistakes or hair fails, so be very careful. I hope you guys like this video. We will see you all next time. Bye.